You and I, we went to school. If we have gone to school and we cannot ask questions from right from the class, we ask our lecturers questions. They explain to us. When they explain to us, we submit. That is how it works. So when you have a wife, you explain to her, make her understand. When your lecturer wants you to do anything, they will explain to you and make you find the reasons why you should do that. So you realize that from our institutions of learning, we have been taught how not to just take orders, how to ask questions, how to be critical. Even this applies to government too. Governments want citizens to do certain things and they just, make orders and want citizens without proper information, orientation, sensitization. That's why there you hear that they increasingly talk about government sensitizing the citizens, because the citizens of today are now educated citizens. They are no longer the colonial and the slave citizens of previous generations, where a king will just rise up one day and say, in this kingdom, nobody must eat pounded yam anymore, and everybody will just submit. Today, if you tell people nobody should eat pounded yam in this house anymore, they will ask you why. Because they have been to school. They have learned how to ask questions. They have learned how to do things by reason, not just do things because somebody is saying so. Even today, even in religion, people now ask questions. When a pastor says a particular thing, when a mualim or a malam says a particular thing, followers will say, my pastor or my malam or whatsoever, why did God say so? Why did God say this? And you discover that it is actually more productive, more beneficial when people behave or act by reason rather than just acting by orders. So you discover that naturally, educated women find it more difficult to actually submit. So if you don't know that it is as a result of education having a way to increase the logical capacity or the logical power of a human being, this is not just particular about the women or common to the women. It's natural for every human being. As a human being, once you go through learning, formal learning or education, you discover that your power of logic naturally begins to increase. As your power of logic begins to increase, you don't just submit by threat, because of threat or whatsoever. Naturally, you only reason, which means that is where we now talk about superior ideas. That in the presence of superior ideas, inferior ideas will bow. So, which means that in this particular, I'm already trying to give solutions now. In this particular smart world, if you really want to live with your wife, and even despite no matter how educated the woman is, and you really want your wife to listen to you and your wife to submit to you, it doesn't take anything. It's just a matter of knowing how to communicate your intentions, your ideas to the woman. And now you must be able to create super ideas. In the mindset of every human being, when people listen to some certain, conversations, when idea hits the mind, ideas are like keys that opens the mind, no matter how stubborn that mind is. When a more superior idea has entered it, it has a way of unlocking that mind. So you realize that your ideas, when you create your events and probably your inventions, naturally, remember we said that events and inventions create change, and change creates control or direction. So today, in today's world, when you really want to change your wife, you really want your wife to, let me say, I hate using the word control, because personally, I don't believe in controlling people. I believe in guiding people. You can mentor people. If you want to mentor your wife or you want to guide your wife as to what you want your wife to do, you must, or which means that probably your wife submitting to you, you must be able to create ideas, communicate those ideas in form of events, and create events in the house and inventions. You will see your wife changing gradually before she will know it, because everybody wants advancement in life. If your idea could bring advancement to her as an educated woman, she would definitely listen to you. Everybody wants to, if she was wealthy before, if you can create better ideas on how to, for how to become even more wealthy, why would she not listen to you? She wants more money. If she's pursuing a career, you can contribute ideas for on how she can become better in that career. Why would she not listen to you? You find your wife loving you more, submitting to you more, and naturally, for those who like to use the word control, you just naturally see that you are in charge of your wife, you are in control of your wife. Simple as that. Submission will no longer be a challenge. At this point, I like to say that for me, I've come to realize, based on my analysis and my research today, that educated women are even the most submissive people. The only thing is to find a way of giving them reason for why they should follow a particular course. When an educated person finds a reason to follow a course, they don't just depart from it. In fact, it becomes the passion. Once that passion is kindled, they will die with that cause. Now, the area of interest and career is one area that makes it difficult for educated women to function with men who lives in smart world, yet maintain a colonial or slavery mentality. If you are a man in this smart world and you still have that colonial mentality or that slavery mentality of dominating not just even the women, you'll agree with me that you go to some family, you see how some men have effectively dominated not just their wife, their children, and by extension, almost everybody in the family, even in the extended family. They act like gods. They act like with impunity. Let me put it that way. Now, for such men rather, you realize that every day that comes is a battle. Your wife will be fighting you. Your children will be fighting you. People around you will be fighting you until eventually, when it has reached the level that it's no longer tolerable to either of these people, naturally they will divorce you, because that is how it works. When something have become, everybody has a breaking point. Everything has an elastic limit and its breaking point. Even relationship has elastic limit and their breaking point. So when your relationship, due to your colonial and slavery mentality, have stressed the relationship between your wife or those around you to its elastic limit, eventually it will reach breaking point, and divorce. At that point, we are talking of divorce. So now, naturally, you'll also agree with me that in the slavery world and the colonial world, the women who lived in this world, by the word they live, I like to call them slave women and colonial women. Now, the colonial women didn't really pursue career. They didn't have any form of personal interest per se. These women, because they didn't go to school or they were not educated, naturally, by the kind of informal education women had in those era, they were trained by their mothers. The major educations that women were given is how to live under a man, how to serve a man like a lord, how to take care of a man and the children, the home, and so on and so forth. You realize that because of that form of education, women in the slave world and the colonial world were able to live under men without pursuing any personal interest. In fact, 100%, most of them supported their husband. to pursue their personal, the husband's career or the family or the husband's legacy. Even at some point where divorce will happen, those women will just pack their things and just walk away from all the labor and the suffering. Now, you'll agree with me that that is certainly cheating and oppression. It is certainly because as men, yes, some of us may feel okay, it favors us as men, but we should remember women are our mothers, women are the sisters we have, women are also the wives that we have. So if it's maybe because it is your wife and that woman is coming from a particular family, probably that is not so dear to you or something. Now, you should remember you also have women who are very, very close to you or dear to you, your mother and your sisters. If you do it to a woman, another woman as your wife, then remember that someone too will do it to your sister or to your own mother. And we know how often we feel bad when it happens. So it is for this reason that for us, every sensible man should it is necessary that we see this form of system as something that is archaic, something that is rejectable, something that is pathetic, and something that is inhuman. That in this smart world today, we must be able to, detach ourselves from all forms of colonial and slavery mentality as it has to do with treatment of women. Now,